If there's anything I love with my guests when they come on the show, I like to ask them how they would love their names to be pronounced. So I have with me here Modupe Ogunbayo.
Right.
I got that.
You got it. Good
All
work.
right, okay, that's cool.
Good job.
So good to have you on the show.
Thank
so
you.
You're the director of media and publicity for Jimmy Agbaje campaign organization here in Lagos.
Right.
You know, I've been asking the question, you know, time was everyone, okay, me, not everyone. I thought the PDP was not even in Lagos anymore. Tell us what's cooking in the camp of the PDP to start with.
Well, that's a very popular misconception when people say that it's the
I don't know
PDP
about
in
people.
Lagos.
I thought about that. There was a time I thought about that.
Now, PDP is alive and well in Lagos and is a major opposition party, even a ruling party sleepless nights. Because if that is not the case, they won't be going about trying to intimidate, harass our members, to cut away our posters. There are tons of gubernatorial candidates in Lagos, but these are posters that are giving them sleepless nights. It's a campaign message, Freedom for Lagos, that is giving them sleepless nights. And wherever they go is a talking point in their campaigns, in their rallies. Instead of telling them what they have for Lagosians, they talk about what we want to do for Lagosians. Because they have no message that will resonate with the people. People know them as being a party of bullies and people who love tormentor in chief and the people who love to force people to do what they don't want to do. So it's a misnomer to say that PDP, there's no PDP in Lagos. PDP is alive, is well, is unified, is one body, but PDP in Lagos is not used to making noise. We are not noise makers. We work and get things done as it should be. It's a dignified party of dignified people.
Let me ask you this: if you say you've been working and you work, perhaps you know you've. How long have you been in Lagos?
I was born here.
Great. So you're older than most of us who strolled into Lagos. So
Okay.
now there is a signage agency in Lagos.
Right.
Your billboard, did it meet the standard, you know, approval of that signage agency here in Lagos?
Good. That's the question we keep asking the Lagos State Signage Advertisement Agency, because there is a waiver for the size of our own campaign posters. Any campaign posters below 3 millimeters,
They gave you a waiver,
there is a general waiver.
but you benefited from that waiver.
We are benefiting. We took advantage of that provision to make sure that our own campaign billboards do not exceed 2.8 millimeter, because there are campaign waivers for posters that are beneath 3 mm. So our campaign posters is 2.8 millimeters. So why are you going around in the dead of the night, cutting it with a huge container truck, cutting
You know
away
one
our
thing
campaign
about
posters?
politicians, over the years, I just realized that politicians, they seem to be doing the same thing. You know, if and when I finally bring on the APC to come on the show, they just probably will be accusing you also of going in, you know, in the thick of the night to bring down their own posters and billboards. I don't know why you people like the night, but let's continue and stay on this. If you got approval and you say you stayed within that approved, you know, waiver for billboards,
Right.
and people went ahead well, the release because we saw Mr. Agbaje on you know, on camera talking about those people that were arrested. Give us you know, an overview of what transpired on that day and what's happening now, because the CP of Lagos has also issued a statement saying no one should go about posting their posters or billboards in the dead of the night.
Thank you. First of all, I want to correct that perception that we politicians love trading words or buzzwords of one another. The PDP in Lagos State is not a party of political jobbers. People there have their jobs. They don't go about doing that, defacing posters or destroying them. Because trust me, if they do that, they would have been caught by now. PDP members doing that would have been caught by now. If any of PDP members do that, no PDP member in Lagos State goes about defacing posters, because they are cerebral enough to know that a campaign is more than posters. People want to hear your campaign message, and that is what we focused on. My principal went to the Pedro police station, not because he's bothered about what they did. We are used to that every time. But because the police invited him that, they caught some people and he had to come to make some statement. That's why he went there. He's not bothered, he's not worried about that.
He was there on invitation
He
of the
was
police.
there because, yes, of what happened. And what happened was that on Sunday night, in the early hours of Sunday night, some government agents belonging to LASA, that's the Lagos State Signage Advertisement Agency, were found cutting away the campaign posters of Mr. Olujimi Kolawole Agbaje, the PDP gubernatorial candidate of Lagos State. And then some youth apprehended them and took them to the police station. So at the police station, they wrote statements. The ID cards were found. They were known to be official members of that agency. Why are you going about in the dead of the night to cut away some campaign posters if you are doing something legitimate, that you know that you are in the right? Because there's a due process for everything. If you give us a time limit, if you said there's no more waiver for that, you cancel the waiver, there has to be a due process of notifying us you've done that, give us a grace period to get things in order before you go about in the dead of the night cutting away posters.
Do you have any posters or any of the signages that you're paying for at the moment?
You don't have to pay for campaign posters below 3 mm. And that's what we did. Because if Lagosians look around, we don't have any campaign billboards. Because they are not giving us any approval for that. You have to get approval. And the approval is not forthcoming. So we took advantage of the ones we have.
Did you approach them for approval?
At where?
LASA.
LASA is not going to approve billboard.
But you, did you approach them? Did you approach them?
Our lawyers are working on that.
Because you have to approach them and you get a refusal, then you now say, oh, Lagosians, this is what has happened. We approached them and we were refused.
That is why we're surprised. That's why we're surprised, because
our legal
team is in the process of doing that with them.
Okay,
and they are aware.
It's a process. They haven't actually approached them.
Yes, there's a process. Our legal team is handling that. And in the midst of handling that, overnight, you just went out and cut away the posters. I mean, that's going against the every normal law of due process.
Now let's talk more, because we need to get those in charge to also let us in on that. That's why I'm asking those questions. If you haven't actually written to them officially to say, I need permission, or I want to pay to have this XY size of my posters, and you say your lawyers are still working, you know, to making sure that they approach them. But let's talk about the issues. You talked about issues-based campaign,
right.
And your principle has been going around. And the very latest is that, well, people are looking at, you know, so many issues about education, a couple of other things about the environment, and you keep talking about one word. You said freedom. And a lot of people are wondering why Mr. Agbaje, your principal, has decided to do all of that. What is he afraid of?
Afraid?
Perhaps because you need to break you must be in chains for you to say you're seeking freedom.
Well, I'm glad we put it. You must be in chains for you to be in freedom. Everyone in Lagos knows that Lagos is in chains. It's not physical, it's symbolic.
You know, when you say everyone, how do you mean everyone?
Virtually, you know, in economics, they tell us that there's 99% of the masses, and we have 1% of the elite. So it means 99% of Lagosians are under bondage. It is not physical hooks and chains that we talk about when we say freedom for Lagos. It is not. Because they keep saying nobody is in bondage. And just recently they said, okay, they should approach vulcanizers and tailors for freedom. Those are the ones that hold freedom parties. That's just a cheap play on words. Everybody who understands basic English comprehension will understand that when we talk about freedom for Lagos, it is not about having a freedom party for an artisan. Fine, they are doing a good job in their trade, but it's not about having a freedom party for an artisan. It's not about physical hooks and chains. The slave trade ended in this climb long ago. But when we are talking about freedom for Lagos...
You think Lagosians are listening to your message and they're buying in on that?
Sure.
When you go around, what exactly do you see that makes you think that they're with you on this?
Definitely, definitely, because there are several fora that Mr. Olujimi Kolawole Agbaje has been in with candidates of the other side. And the response from Lagosians is ample proof that the message, the campaign slogan, the campaign message is resonating with them. The last one, there have been a couple of events before the one happened at the Experience the other day happened. And you saw what happened. Lagosians gave him a rousing standing ovation. Even before his name was mentioned, they were still introducing him and they gave him a standing ovation all around the stadium. These were not imported crowd. It's not a campaign rally. It's not a chartered crowd. These are random Lagosians from every part of the state. So that's a pointer to the fact that this same Mr. Olujimi Kolawole Agbaje as the modern-day Moses that is taking Lagosians out of the hegemony and facet rule of one person. Lagos State Treasury is not an extension of someone's personal account. The former MD of Alpha Beta Consulting released a number of tweets on social media on what has been transpiring for years in Lagos State. And it's alarming. The guy even cried out that they boasted that the media, they own the media, they are going to kill the story, it's not going to come out. I wonder why someone like you is not looking into that story as well.
Because I'm so happy you're saying that, because it's amazing that you're saying this. If anyone boasted that they're going to hold you from talking, but you're on live television and no one has stopped you, and no one has even asked you to come.
But you and I know that you prevent some flow of information from getting out.
No, certainly not. Because you've been on this show and you've been speaking, and no one is hounding you.
So
no one is asking you.
Why didn't you invite the former MD
you're not to tell me who to invite. I invited you.
I can tell you that because there's a procedure for you to invite a person. To invite people onto your program.
You see where you're taking
the
argument.
And if they tell you topical items
you're taking the
or
argument,
controversial items,
you're taking the argument,
take them and let them elaborate on what they're saying.
Argument away from your own side. You're a member of the PDP, you represent Mr. Jimmy Agbaje, and I'm saying, if you say the media has been, perhaps because you're inferring by inference that the media has been bought not to say some things, and I'm saying, hold on.
That is what the man said.
Hold on, and I'm saying,
MD
this is not about himself. The MD, but
it's not about me.
And I'm saying that you are on live television.
Right.
I invited you, and you came on the show, and I haven't stopped you, and there are no set questions before you came on set. That's right.
Right.
So if you can come on Political Stew and you can say all that you say, then I don't think that there's any reason for us to say the media has been, asked not to say some things or not to allow some people go on. And it's not enough for someone who's not the producer of a show to say, invite someone who is not a politician or who is not an interested person on an issue to come on the show.
On this particular quote, it is not my quote. It is what the man himself tweeted. It is what the man himself said, that he boasted that the story will not see the light of day. And the story since then has not seen the light of day. You check it out yourself.
I'm not ready to go about tweets. I'm ready to go about the PDP here in Lagos and about your principle and give them a voice. And that we have done, and I'm sure you're satisfied with that. So the man who's gone ahead to talk about tweets, whether his tweets has been deleted or taken off, I think we have a different environment in the social media. The social media is a very vibrant environment. So if he's speaking to the social media populace, and I'm quite sure people will be listening to him, but this is just certainly not about him. To close this very quickly, so that it doesn't look like we're actually taking the moment of my second guest, what do you see in 2019 after the election day? Do you see yourself victorious on that day, and why?
Definitely. The People's Democratic Party candidate in Lagos State, Mr. Olujimi Kolawole Agbaje, is in this race to win. He won it the last time it was robbed. This time around is running. He's not going to be robbed. Come next year, he's going to be the next governor of Lagos State.
Many thanks for being with us on Political Stew.
Thank you.